Hi, my name is Fuad Sule and you're watching the LARNE project.
What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode 20 of the LARNE project here in Football Manager 2019. Hopefully you guys are good, and today we're going to be taking on Cliftonville. It's the Irish Football Association Challenge Cup 5th round. Yes, that rolls off the tongue, not really, does it? But yes, it's a big game for us. It's the Northern Irish Football Cup. As I said, it's the 5th round. This is the competition that we won last year to get into Europe. And well, you can see, looking at the league table here, oh, boys, we are rolling now. Of course, last episode we got 2 massive wins, which if you missed, you should go check out. Since then, 2 games we've played, both in the league, a 3-0 and a 2-0 lead. And well, when you look at our form, it is superb. And I believe the Berlin and Mallard game was the first game where we changed our tactic. So we drew this game 2-2. I'm now trying to remember exactly which game it was. Was it the Warren Point game? Was it the Warren Point game? Yeah, it was. So the Warren Point game was the first game where we kind of first switched our system from the 3 at the back. I mean, look at that. Look at that. 2 points dropped, or 2 games where we dropped points. We dropped 3 when we lost to Cliftonville 1-0, who, of course, we're going to be taking on today on a draw against Coleraine. But besides that, my word, we have been superb. As you can see, since you were last here, 2 games played, 2 wins. The first one against Linfield, a good performance this one. 2 rather direct goals going the way of Glatzel. Tiny little finishes by him. And Shane McElhaney with a goal right at the death. Who else is it going to be from a corner, really? In this game as well, Rory Jarvis missed a penalty. You might be thinking, who's Rory Jarvis? Why was Mandanda not taking the penalty? Well, Rory joined us in January. He was one of a few signings, and I thought, as you can change your penalty taker during kind of the period when a decision's given and a penalty's given. I was like, well, it's his debut. Let's get him a goal. Let's take Mandanda off it. And I let Rory have it, and he missed it. So, Rory, you're probably not going to get a penalty again for a little while, I'm afraid. You can see, since he's come to us, he hasn't actually scored yet. He's not actually played many games at all, the 18-year-old. We signed him, of course, if we just look here. I think it was Derry he came from. It was indeed £14,000. A bit of a bargain. You can see he had a very good year for them in the second tier of Ireland. And it's going to be interesting to see how he adapts to football here. Is kind of coming in as a backup and has replaced David McDade in the first team, who I have, with a heavy heart, demoted down to the reserves because he's just not going to play for us ever again, I don't think. I don't know how he would ever fit in the side. He's quite good in the air, but, you know, Rory Jarvis, a young player who I do need to give football to, and David McDade, well, his contract runs out at the end of the year. I have been trying to find him a new club, in this January transfer window because I don't want him to stagnate in the reserves. But no one really wants him. Other than that, though, one other game, we took on Warren Point. A 2-0 win in this one. Not the most convincing results, but it's the win that matters at the end of the day. A slightly rotated team for this one. A few changes here and there. Gave Mandanda a rest, although he did come on off the bench. Simmons got us off to a flyer. Goal in the 12th minute for him, which was great. He's been out for a while with injuries, so for him to get back on the score sheet was good. And Romario Vieira in the 92nd minute with a little goal for him. And Mandanda did actually get the assist for that goal. So a nice win there. And with those 2 wins, we look very good now at the top of the table because teams around us have been slipping up. If we just look here at Glenavon's schedule, you can see that they are in a really poor run of form. In fact, they've been struggling to win since December, really. You can see 4 wins since the start of the last month. So when you consider the number of games, it's a little disappointing. They are still in the Irish Cup, so who knows, maybe we'll get drawn against them. You can see, looking at their Europa League campaign, they did finish rock bottom of their group. 1 point they achieved. Pretty disappointing all in all. They did, to be fair to them, I want to say they didn't do okay, did they? They didn't do it. They didn't score a goal, even though they got 1 point in a 0-0 draw. They didn't score a goal, but it's some progress for Northern Irish football at the very least. Anyway, January's come and is, well, still going on. I am still trying to do a few bits of transfer business. I had a few kind of contracts and potential signings that just didn't quite work out. Gavin Reeves, I was looking to loan from Celtic. This is a player who was on my radar for a while. He left Tranmere to go to Celtic last year on a free. and I'm a bit disappointed that I missed out on him because I really, really wanted to sign him. He was loan listed, so I was hoping I could loan him, and then maybe if he didn't quite work out at Celtic, we'd be able to sign him, permanently because he would have played for us previously, but it didn't work out. I was also looking at Justin Wright from Crewe as a slightly different striking option to some of the other attackers we've got, but he signed a new contract with Crewe. So that deal isn't working out. One signing I am making, potentially, is to try and maybe bring back Fuad Sul back to the team. I think he'd be a good little addition for us in the centre of the midfield. He's kind of fairly similar to Romario Vieira. He's a player, of course, was on loan at us for the first half of last year. He might just offer us some good little strength in depth as a backup option and a bit of a sentimental signing as much as anything. It'd be interesting to see if we could sign him back. I've only just submitted a transfer offer of, I think, £50,000. We'll see how it goes. We've got the money to spend. You can see here, £451,000 in the bank, £7,000 wage budget. I've been looking at all kinds of players here. There's some pretty exciting options and players that we've kind of stumbled across, but no one who I've kind of been excited enough to pull the trigger on other than the players we've already covered before. I will just go through them real quick because, as you can see here, 5 players joined us in January. Matt Walker, the first of these, very excited about this guy, and the day before he was due to join us, he played on New Year's Eve and he tore a groin muscle. Blooming typical, out for between 8 and 10 weeks, so a 2-month injury means that he's not been fit since he joined us. I thought he might play a role in the first team. With that injury in mind, I've put him down to the under-20s. We'll see how he gets on in the second half of the season with them. Noel Anderson has joined us from Dungannon Swifts, just an attacker with some potential, a bit of a punt as much as anything, but a good Northern Irish player who I'd like to get homegrown. Kieran Tal is the former Spurs trainee who we signed and realised he didn't have any good finishing. I signed him prematurely, I didn't fully scout him, I may live to regret it forever. He looks okay, he doesn't look great though, so he's there. Rory Jarvis we've already talked about, and also Andrew Morrison, who is in the first team. I have made him available for the under-20s, but I do like the look of this guy. A centre-back who we've signed from Cliftonville, if I'm not mistaken, who we played today. You can see he was a regular player in their team over the last 2 years. Isn't going to be playing so regularly for us, but he's a good player nevertheless. And while you might have noticed on the transfer front, we've loaned a lot of players out in January. Now, I'm not going to go through many of these because for the most part, it's players who I either wanted to get rid of, they're not going to be good enough for us, or they're players we signed last year who, just as things have worked out, haven't been good enough. For example, a great example would be Danny Severio, who last year I was so excited about at the start of the year. And, given how we've progressed off the pitch, he's never going to play for us. So Dungannon Swifts want to loan him. He's going there for 12 months. Nathan Baxter has joined Glentoran. Again, one of those players we signed last year. Just hasn't quite worked out. Similar trend here. Liam Morris going into Linfield. McAverley has gone to Derry, which is a little bit of a different move, I guess, because he's not staying within the country. Matty Smith's gone to Oldham. Interestingly enough, no one within Northern Ireland wanted to take this guy on loan, even if they didn't have to pay his wages. He's gone to Oldham because he wanted to play first-team football. I don't even think he's going to get it at Oldham, but we'll see. They're covering his wages, which is the main thing. And the last 2 players, Jack Fox, 2 passing. I don't think he'll ever play for us, especially with that inconsistency. That scares me. And also you can see here Daley Campbell, who might actually play for us a little bit. He's gone to Glenavon. Good little right back actually with some potential, so we'll have to keep an eye on his development. But for the most part, these players who I don't think are ever going to play in the first team. But I will say the fact that they are on loan within the country is great. We are improving, hopefully, Northern Irish football by doing this. And I'm hoping that when you look at our reserves, and obviously it's filled with some players that I'm not so keen on, I'm hoping that these players, when their contracts run out, there's a fair few running out at the end of this year, they will stay within the country and help strengthen the league as a whole, because they would be good additions to a lot of other teams in this league. It'll be interesting to see kind of how that transpires. I look at the likes of Chris Eagles, Paddy McNally, Alex O'Hanlon. These are players who, for a team in our league would probably be pretty useful. So I'm hoping they're going to stick around. You can see, obviously, most of these players' contracts expiring over the next few years. Our reserve's kind of full of players I'm not so keen on. One thing I haven't talked about, and I definitely should talk about, is the fact our reserve team actually managed to win the Steel and Sun Cup, which we won last year. I wonder if this competition's ever had it where a senior team and a reserve team have won it alternate years. Did we win this last year? No, in fact, this is the one we bottled last year, where we lost against the Police. So our reserve team have won another trophy for us, one that we've never won. I don't know if I should be embarrassed by that, but they've done it. Well played to our reserve team. You can see they lost in the Intermediate Cup second round to Sports and Leisure Swift. So yeah, not so great there, but hey, they won us some silverware. Obviously, in terms of our competitions, we won the Charity Shield, we won the Counter-Antrim Shield and the Charity Shield. I've got lost there because there's 2 shields. There's still 2 cups left. We've obviously got the Northern Irish Football League Cup here, which I'm excited about. It should be a good one for us. And obviously we have the Irish Football Association Challenge Cup, which is what we're doing today, where we're in the 5th round. So anyway, let's get into it today. In terms of our overall team, this is the squad that's pretty much settled in now. This has become my kind of go-to starting 11. Fitness is fairly good, which is absolutely fantastic. And well, when you look at our bench, it is stacked with options. In goal, of course, we're going to go with Jared Thompson. At centre-back, we go with McElhaney. Alongside him, we're going to go with O'Sheen, who has been very, very solid this year, to be honest. I mean, you look at him. He's done great. 23 appearances, a 7.02 rating. Can't ask for a lot more than that from him. At left back, we are going to go with Kane, who has continued to develop this year. His determination has plummeted by 1 point, which is a tad bit concerning, but he's improved in every other element of his game. He's looking like a fantastic player for the future. If we look slightly higher up the pitch, Newell done a very good job here as the more defensive midfielder in our system. I feel like Sull would be a good player to bring in, just to offer some competition in that position. McGrath, who would normally be on the bench and be an alternate option here, unfortunately is suspended, if I'm not mistaken, for today's game, so he isn't going to be around. Out on the right, of course, we're going to go with McDermott today. That is mostly down to the fact that, if you can see here, Neco Williams still out injured. He twisted his knee. He's been out for a little while with it. Happened in that game against Linfield during our recent run of games. So, yeah, McDermott's going to come in there. Romario Vieira going to play that box-to-box midfielder role for us. And, well, in the final third, where things get spicy, Phoenix Patterson, who is continuing to be just a bit of a revelation for us, really. Has slowed down maybe a little bit as of late, but still very, very good. And then, well, the exciting news, really, Mandanda's here. He was wanted by 25 clubs. We had transfer offers from Celtic and West Ham. I rejected them, he didn't kick up a fuss, and he signed a new contract. So he's got 3.5 years on his current deal. It'll end in 3.5 seasons' time, but we've got that optional 3-year extension. So we've got him for the foreseeable future, which I'm very, very happy about. Because I look at this guy and I absolutely love him. He's bloody brilliant. Anyway, elsewhere in the team, O'Connor has also signed a new contract. It just gets better and better, doesn't it? Similar deal to Mandanda, slightly less in the way of money, but you can see here £2,000 a week for 3.5 years with an optional 3-year extension. We have our 2 key players tied down for the foreseeable future, which is great. And while Simmons back from injury, and hopefully he can play for us and do well. You can see he got a goal against Warren Point. Prior to that, he had a little bit of a drought. He scored against Dungannon Swifts, of course, that game a little while ago now. But let's see what he can do as our out-and-out striker today. He's going to get a chance to show us what he's made of. On the bench, you can see here Thomas Stewart, Paul Glatzel, Tommy O'Donnell, Brad Lyons, Gary Marsh, Graham Kelly, Elliot Kebby. Fairly standard bench there, nothing too drastic or revolutionary going on. And well, let's see how they get on. I want to do well in this competition. Cliftonville, the only team to beat us since we switched to this new tactical system, which has been working superbly for us. They're playing a particularly odd-looking formation. I'm wondering, actually, are they playing like a rotated team here, or is this their actual main team? I'm looking at it, and the appearances some of these players have. It feels like they are fielding a weakened team, so hopefully we can get a comfortable win here. Had I known that in advance, might not have done today as a live comp, but you live and you learn. And well, the cup games are where things really matter now. In the league, I think we're 9 points clear or something. So barring an absolute capitulation off the pitch, I don't see a world in which we don't now win the league, which is great to be able to say. We really have found our feet and found our form, it feels like, ever since we changed tactical systems. And, well, hopefully we can just keep that going. This is going to be not a challenge. It shouldn't be a challenge for us, but it could be a challenge for us as they have a chance here. Nicely dealt with by Kane. Gets it down the line. Simmons there with his pace. Beats his man. Absolutely burns him. O'Connor's going to be there. This has got to be a goal. It should have been a goal. It should have been a goal. He skews it wide. Fluffs his lines there, O'Connor. Which is particularly disappointing because it was a golden opportunity for us there. I mean, Simmons just pulled all the players across. They're only playing free at the back. We got in behind and we couldn't make it count. Might have another chance here, though. Can he redeem himself, O'Connor? Oh, my gosh. Romario Vieira hits the woodwork. And it's going to be, well, booted away and into touch. 28 minutes gone, and we've got another chance here. We are currently knocking on the door There is the Cliftonville goal, and we're trying to find a way through. Mandanda, oh my gosh. The curve on that effort made me wonder for a second. Was it actually going to be able to find its way in? Unfortunately for us, the wrong side of the post. But in this game, whilst we haven't crafted out quality opportunities, we've had some pretty good speculative efforts which really haven't been far off the mark. But yes, 0-0 at half-time. That is not great, especially considering the team that they're fielding today. I'm going to have to get shouty, boys. I'm not happy. I am not a happy bunny. Step it up in the second half. We have got options on the bench, so if we want to change it, we can. I'm going to give the players who are, on the pitch right now a chance to redeem themselves here in the second half. Kane, can he make something happen? Goes to Newell. Ref plays advantage. McDermott, have a go right back. Have a go, my son. Oh my gosh, that'll do. I mean, he's gone for the classic rub your tummy, pat your head celebration. That's a classic. Never seen a player do that in real life, but in Football Manager, it happens every other week, it seems. But yes, a lovely little goal there for us. Worked from one side of the pitch to the other. Newell, a nice ball here, to be fair. Good advantage by the ref too. We deserve to give him some credit, because I feel like when referees screw up, you put them under the microscope and you complain about every little thing. When they do a good advantage, it just kind of gets glossed over. Well done, referee. Can we give him the assist? Probably not. It's not over, though. As much as you'd expect us now from this position to be in cruise control to the end of the game, it's not over. And lovely tackle there. Kind of came in from behind, but we're not going to complain. Simmons breaking away. He's got the pace here. What a ball that is. O'Connor. I mean, the keeper has stopped that, I think. And unfortunately for us, O'Connor can't get it back into the mixer. The keeper, I don't know how he got across there to stop that, but fair play to the lad. Keeping Cliftonville in it. 2 goals at the start of the second half really could have been the quick 1-2 knockout blow needed just to, well, take the game by the scruff of the neck. But they dealt with it well. Ives with it. Romario Vieira. Questionable tackle, I feel like, to say the least. Mandanda, can you make something happen? Whips it in. Romario Vieira, have a go, my son. I mean, there you go. That's why he's on the pitch. 3rd goal of the season for him. He only scores nice kind of, I don't want to call them screamers, but ones where he just rockets it into the back of the net. There's no tap into Romario Vieira. Half cleared away, 1 touch, gets it down on his left peg into the top bins. I mean, we'll take that all day, every day. 2-0 up. And things are looking pretty good here right now against Cliftonville. An hour gone on the clock. And we look in complete control right now. Phoenix, can you get on the score sheet? That would be nice. He's been a little bit of a, what's the right word? He's been a bit absent as of late. Can he get it in? He can. O'Connor finally gets his goal for the game. It's been a little while coming. I feel like it might be worth rotating the team a little bit here, so I'm going to bring in O'Donnell. I'm also going to bring in Glatzel, I think, for Simmons. Just getting some fresh legs. I want to protect some of our kind of players who I could do with saving. You know, someone like Mandanda. It's not. I don't want to say it's pointless to have him on now at 3-0 up. I'd rather not risk it. And while Glatzel, on off the bench, fresh-legged, clean for on goal, tries to dink the keeper, and he makes himself look like a fool because he just didn't get the right power on it at all. It just went straight into the keeper's hands. McDermott's twisted his ankle, so we're going to have to take him off. That could be a bad injury. But we'll bring in Kebby, who, to be fair, I don't know if we've seen him recently, but there he is. Look, you can see his little face. He's well happy. He's like, remember me, boys. O'Donnell, on off the bench. Oh, he should have scored. He should have scored. 4-0, it would have been game, set, and match. But he misses it. He misses it. But yeah, Kebby's on the pitch. Can Kebby score us a goal? It'd be nice, wouldn't it? We've not seen him in a little while. Oh, Kebby, oh my gosh. They've given us a gift. Paul O'Connor, it's his 20th of the season. He's laughing. He is laughing. Defensively, Cliftonville looking all over the place there. We really boxed them in that corner. Once we gave them the ball, they had nowhere to go with it. And from there, it's a great assist by Evans, you'd have to say. O'Connor now somehow looking for a hat-trick in a game where he's missed a number of sitters. I mean, it's been all too comfortable here, really, hasn't it? I think because this game's been so comfortable, it's not been the game that I thought it was going to be because they played a weakened team. We'll talk a little bit about transfer strategy after this match finishes. So don't go turn off immediately thinking the episode's over. We'll find something to talk about. Phoenix has twisted his knee. Let's take him off here. And, well, hopefully we can just deal with this now. That's fine. Give away a free kick, Glatzel. It's all over. Ref, just blow full time. Thank you. He's a good referee, this guy. But yes, 4-0. Good win for us. Kind of expected, I guess, when you consider the team that they put up. But we go marching on. And well, Glenavon in our next game is going to be coming next time out. I think next episode is going to be a double header. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to do this game today. Is because we're going to have Glenavon and I think... actually, I don't know if it will be a double header. I think we'll do the Glenavon game here, and then we'll be doing Cliftonville in the Cup. We may even do that as a double header, the Northern Irish 6th round of the Cup. That could be 2 pretty big games for us. I feel like if we can beat Glenavon in our next game, it would put us, 12 points clear with 10 games left. At that point, the title's probably wrapped up. So that's why I wanted to do the next one. But obviously, I thought this was going to be a more important game than it was. But we can talk a little bit about transfers and stuff. Is Sul going to want to join us? Do you want to come back? He does want to come back. Excellent. I can't give you as much money as you want, but I'll give you a longer contract. Right. It's a little bit more money than I'd like to pay, but the sentimental value of him is what's drawing me to him. I think actually, when you look at our squad depth here, defensive midfielders is something we are kind of lacking in a little bit. Obviously, if you drop the star rating, then you get McGrath here, who can play that defensive midfielder position, but actually Sul is just a bit better defensively and a bit more complete as a player. I kind of see McGrath as more of a centre-back option rather than a centre-mid option. Obviously, they can both play the defensive mid position naturally, but in terms of, I guess, what they offer in a broader sense when it comes to squad depth and such, we don't have that many great box-to-box midfielders who can do stuff going forwards and backwards. You know, you look at Brad Lyons, who plays there, defensively very lacking, and particularly in the bigger games against bigger opposition, I do need box-to-box midfielders who can offer us something defensively. You know, for example, when we're in Europe, it's going to be something that we might need. And whilst we have Romario Vieira, who can do it to an extent, Sul, I think, offers us a similar thing in some senses, but just a little bit more defensively, which I think is something that we do lack. And obviously, with him being a former player who we lost, it'd be nice to bring him home. You can see, actually, I talked about our transfer kind of money that we currently have. We have a lot. £451,000 in the transfer budget, a wage budget of close to 6,000. Obviously, you can see here the players that my scouts have been recommending. Unfortunately, some of these players are older than the players we'd be able to sign. I have been looking at Shane Lavery. Oh, English is hard, isn't it, Jack? As an option of a player we could sign, but his wage demands were just a little too high for my liking. So I've kind of pulled out of there for now. You can see in terms of 18-year-olds, with our new kind of scouting range upgrades that I did, we do have a few more players appearing here. You know, there's been a few players here who I have been looking at. There's players here who unfortunately don't fit into our requirements, which is a shame because I didn't quite realise, I guess, how tricky under 19 players was going to be in terms of British players, because what I'm finding is the best young players, at their teams, the kind of players that I'd like to sign, they don't want to join us. They're so young that they just don't want to leave the club. I have been looking at this guy, actually, Jonathan Haley, who plays for Tranmere. I talked about Reeves, who we missed out on, who's gone to Celtic, as a player who I wanted to sign but couldn't. I have looked at this guy once already, but we couldn't agree a final deal because of the fact that his agent wanted a load of money. I'm actually going to see if we can get him in again real quick. We might as well have a go. Why not? Assistant, you can go. I want to know if we're going to sign Sul or not. Okay, he is actually interested in potentially joining now, but he wants to be a key player. I can't offer you the key player, mate. I can offer you rotation, maybe? Our scouts do like the look of him quite a lot. I thought we were getting him for free. I mean, 300 grand isn't a small amount of money either, is it? But he does look quite good. I mean, how does he compare to what we've got? I think that's what we actually really need to do here. How does he compare to, say, Rory Jarvis, who is Northern Irish as well? He's better. He's better in some areas, but certainly not in enough to get super excited about. He's not worth the money, is he? That's the issue. I feel like I'm looking for value in the market. Like a player like Haley here is a good player. But the issue is that when you consider some of the signings we've made for the money that we've made them for, it's very difficult to justify spending £300,000, at least right now, on an 18-year-old who just isn't quite what we're looking for, I guess, in a player. But in terms of my kind of general approach to signing players, I've talked about some of the hot prospects we've signed here. I'm kind of now waiting for intake day, which I believe is in March. Intake day, of course, being when new youth comes in. I feel like we've extensively scouted most of Britain at this point using our scouting assignments, which you can have a quick look at here, where we're scouting the UK and Ireland. We could actually set up a few more, so maybe I should do those. I've been slacking a little bit. But yeah, I feel like we kind of need a new batch of players to come through to try and find, some of the new hot talent. Some people have been asking about the kind of players that I've been looking for. Basically, what I've been doing is setting players' ages at most, and then obviously here I will set it to 18. And then I'm just looking for kind of very good hot prospects. When it comes to these players, I want players who are going to offer us something in the first team immediately, so kind of good. And then in terms of their potential, I'm looking for kind of 4-star and above. Superb and above is kind of what I'd like now in terms of star ratings. Obviously, this is how I've been doing things. And then in terms of scope, I set region, UK and Ireland. I had someone ask on Twitter, actually, about how I've been doing my scouting assignment. So this is what I do, basically set that up. That's now been assigned to Stephen Hedsky. So hopefully he can find some players. I've also got Graham Younger here, who I can assign somewhere. I might even send him to England exclusively to have a look. Let's do that right now, just because that's where he's from. It's probably where he's most familiar with football. And I feel like when you look at the home nations within England, it's probably the one that has the best potential. I'm not even going to set current ability on this guy. I'm going to be a little less fussy. You can see some of the players that these scouts have been throwing up. Interesting players, actually. Obviously, a few of these now just over the age of 18, which is a little bit of a shame. If I'd checked these a little bit sooner, I could have had a look through. With these guys, obviously, I let the scouts uncover them, and then I'll, scout them again just to get a kind of a second opinion on them all. If after a second opinion and I like them all, I might scout them for a more extended period of time. But I found that this is a pretty good way just to kind of get an initial grasp on players. In terms of people have been asking me, how do I go about doing things? One of the things I love to do is just go through the under-21s national team, see the players who are being called up. You've got this guy playing for Inverness at the age of 16, who's played in the Scottish Premiership. He could be quite good, has fairly professional personality as well, so we'll get a second scout report on him. This guy I was actually looking at playing for Ayr, but he didn't want to join us. He's got a release clause of 200k in his new contract. I kind of want to see if we can get him. I had a look at him before. He looked pretty good as a keeper. I mean, he looks very good as a keeper. He's only 18, but he wasn't interested in joining us. Ayr actually got promoted to the Scottish Premiership. Yeah, you can see here he still isn't that interested. But I'm finding myself getting pretty familiar now, I feel like, with the kind of youth national teams, with us, being limited to a kind of fairly small pool of players. You quickly become familiar with the best young prospects, the players worth really being aware of. But yeah, it's going to be kind of an ongoing thing, I feel like, here, where we're constantly, checking the under 21s national teams, the under 20s, the under 19s, if there's ever any players in it, which there is actually at the moment. See who they're throwing up as players to keep an eye out for the future, and really take it from there. Naturally, a player playing for a team like Celtic, I'm going to struggle to sign. When you look at our signings this year, a large proportion of them have been players playing, in the Conference North and that kind of level. Actually, I didn't realise this at the time, but Boston United actually got relegated last season when we signed a couple of their players. But obviously, Curzon Ashton have proven to be a very good team for us to kind of sign players from. And one thing that I have been doing very regularly is looking at the season preview here, just having a click through, seeing if there's any 18-year-olds getting kicked up or if there's any regen. Look at this guy, Chris Johnson, between 13 and 19 finishing, playing for Chester. Get a scout report on him, see what he's all about. This has actually been a very, very good way to pick up and find out about players. This guy, Lee Say, I really want to sign this guy. I really, really do. He would be like the perfect inside forward for us. He's 18 years old. He plays for Port Vale. I don't know if it will show it here. This is a deal I negotiated with Port Vale. I was ready to break the bank for this guy earlier on this year. I really was. I'm still kind of ready to break the bank for him. But I don't know if he'd want to join. I guess we could try and submit the same offer again. I mean, the question is, guys, would you pay... How much was it that I offered? So I offered potentially 2.3 million. with 500k up front, 1.3 million spread over 12 months, or over 3 periods of 12 months. So we pay 400k every year, basically, and then some appearance fees after international caps. I mean, they think it's unacceptable now. I was wondering if they were going to accept it. This guy, he looks so good playing for Port Vale. I mean, the fact he's playing for Port Vale is just a bit weird, but I really want him. I really want him. There's no other. I think I've already gone through these, I think, before. I don't think there were any other regens coming up. Maybe in League One, although at this point, League One is kind of a little bit above the quality of players that I can realistically attract, which is a little bit of a depressing sentence to say. I'm hoping it won't be like that forever, but at least right now, kind of the players that we've got is kind of limited. This guy plays for Barbados a lot, apparently. He has also got English nationality. We'll have a look at him. He plays for Barnet. He's got 15 caps playing for Barnet. Impressive. I kind of like the idea of having a right back from Barbados, but I don't know if he's actually going to be any good. We'll get a scout report on him and see if he might be interested in coming. But yeah, you know, this is just one of many things that I've been doing as of late. Billericay on the rise, actually. They're not doing as well this year as they were predicted to do. Obviously, another thing you can do is just flick through teams here and look at who their key players are. If they have a key player who's a regen, it usually stands out at this level and it's worth just getting a scout report on them. So that's another approach I've taken to trying to find players. And obviously, with this skin, you can see the previous starting 11s as well. So that can often be a fairly useful way just to quickly look through teams. Obviously, you could manually find out all this information by kind of going through teams' previous fixtures and seeing who's playing and, you know, how much. But yeah, just a few different ways, I guess, I've been approaching signing players. There isn't really anyone on my radar right now who I think we're definitely going to sign. Just because, as I said, I feel like we've expended actually a lot of the players who we could potentially sign at this moment in time. I feel like we've been pretty thorough with our search. There were actually a few players at Crewe I was looking at. Justin Wright was kind of the one I really wanted. But there was actually, I think, a different player listed as their hot prospect not that long ago. I mean, Crewe are always good for young players. They're always worth checking out. They've got Ben Edwards here. We'll get a scout report on you. Why not? But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling here for the sake of rambling. I know some of you guys love the longer videos. Some of you don't. But yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about how we've been trying to sign players. Obviously, we've got Gebby joining us from Ross County next January. I'm very excited about getting this guy, and I think he could be a very good centre-back in the future. Obviously, I love the fact he's consistent because we don't have any players like that right now. And I'm hoping he might be the long-term centre-back solution for us here at LARNE. But anyway, I've rambled for long enough. Next time out, it's going to be the game against Glenavon. I might do it as a double header with the game against Cliftonville, but we're going to be playing them in the Cup final as well. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how I'm feeling. It might be a shorter episode next time, given the fact that I've talked for so long again today about signings, and it's only in a week's time. But yeah, regardless, I hope you have enjoyed today's video. A good result for us, well, I will see you guys on the next one. It is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.